All right, hey guys, welcome back to Crusader Sounds Ministries. I appreciate you dropping by. So today we're going to do an impulsive Christian reaction. So I just saw this he literally dropped this like 3 hours ago. So if you're actually interested in watching, go check it out. Yeah, he talks about him and Megan Fox doing the euthanasia experience, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to break this down using a Christian point of view instead of the worldly point that he's probably going to give you. That being said, Logan's already been interviewed or has interviewed Clifton Nectel, I think is how you pronounce his name. So he's curious, so I think it's good. So anyway, without further ado, we're just going to break down this clip a little bit. I'm not going to watch the whole interview because it's like an hour and 12 minutes. I'm not interested in watching the whole entire thing. So,
dude, when I did ayahuasca, and for those who ever do that, if you go do it and there's not someone singing, like it's not the proper way, like there has to be someone. Mine, they were Peruvian shamans, and they would go to each individual person and speak straight to your crown chakra, and they would sing these. They would channel whatever your body as energy brought to them, and they would sing. And when they hit a certain note, dude, your body uncontrollably would just start purging. It would just start puking, and I could tell. When Megan and I did it, we were separated, but I could tell when it was the shaman was singing to her. Like you could, even though you can't see anybody because it's a pitch black room, I could tell whenever it was her song. And you would hear when they hit a frequency, like it would resonate with different people in the room because people would puke at different times.
So it's like a symphony of puking, basically.
Yeah, each person gets their own song
to puke to.
But a frequency would make 3 different people puke at the same time. Like they would hit a certain note, and then all of a sudden everybody would just purge.
And would those people that puked to the same sound wave, would they like kind of congregate as that level of puker?
Well, you're in your own zone. So no, I don't think after you puked, I don't think anyone in mid trip just got up and was like, Kate went and shook hands like, hey, we both puked at the same. Now go back to your trip. I'm gonna go back, but that was cool that we puked at the same.
Yes. When did you do? Because
Megan knew everyone. The one commonality in that room after everyone would calm down and come down, and you all met at a star deck later. Not everybody. Because we're all strangers, but everybody was like, "Oh, I knew when you were puking." I guess I was the loudest puker.
Yeah.
And also the shaman, the shaman gave me the most dose of anybody. So I was it was 22 people. They of course waited for me last, which was just such a God-given test of your patience and anxiety is so fucked. I'm gonna now make you wait this hour process to get to you.
Okay, he's literally just used God-given when it comes to demonic experiences, which is not correct. But again, I'm not sure he stands on his Christian faith and values, to be honest with you. So it's not surprising.
Just to get your dosage.
You got iced.
I got iced. And when I went up there and I sat, there was a translator for the shamans, and the shaman was, told the lady he has there's something. I forgot what the exact way she said it. It was really haunting, but a giant black shadow, right? Like a dark.
I've heard this before.
And she was like, he needs
the most.
Whoa. He needs the most.
Whoa. So okay, so you did this in Peru.
I did that in Costa Rica in the jungles.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
What do you attribute in terms of change in personality and being an identity from that ceremony? How many times have you done it?
4 times.
In a hunt for separation from ego, from self.
No, that was a specific. I went specifically for something that I have not reached a point where I'm comfortable talking about.
Cool.
And did I achieve that? No, I maybe. I mean, I know I started finally.
So literally the look on his face. So as you can tell, he's looking for more in life than what he has at this point. Because again, what's his name? Joshua Bassett. There we go. The guy, literally the former Disney actor turned artist now, did the same exact thing, but with Joshua's experience, he had his parents, continually dropping seeds, continually trying to get him to come to Jesus, and eventually Joshua was like, I'm just literally. I mean, we can watch the interview and react to that. Another review down the line. But Joshua ended up becoming a Christian and actually coming to Jesus, through his own experience. And so I think this is what MGK is also looking for in general. And again, I get it because I think everyone's looking for it. But when you're not a Christian, you look everywhere else, right? Drugs, sex, women, girls, euthanasia. You go to different countries if you can afford it, and you try it that way, and you don't find anything because, unfortunately, without Jesus Christ, you will never be fulfilled. It's just not a thing. All right, let's continue on with this video. It's almost done.
Like there was one person ever that I like talked to about what I went in search of I've had to learn to like rewire myself from my childhood, like of things that I wasn't ever okay admitting to myself, right? So like maybe it helped me actually be able to get to the point where I like didn't black any of that out.
Got it.
But I know when I went there, I mean, dude, the first night I was in like a mud hell where like fingers were like popping out and like I puked my dad's body parts up. And
I've heard it's an insane experience. I've been talking to a lot of people about it lately. We were talking about it yesterday. A number of really, big celebs, athletes, creators, whatever.
Jake swears by it.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Swears by
Yeah.
it, dude. He's like, everyone needs to do this. And I believe another creator we know said it was like one of the most important
I don't
things.
know if he talks about it publicly, but he told me recently, he was like, I cannot believe it exists, and it changed my entire outlook.
So another difference between like the world, so they're speaking from a worldly point of view. I think Joshua's point of view was to not do it, and he was speaking from a Christian point of view. So as a Christian, you should not do this. You know it's evil, you know it's demonic, and yes, demons will enter inside your body if you do this. It's just a fact of life. It's a biblical fact in general.
Looking at led him to a to a massive overcoming a massive like life pain and trauma, and I think that's really what it's best for, is just kind of overcoming all that trauma that's kind of just sits inside of you.
There's an interesting thing about it because I think like in mainstream media we hear that part, right, which is that it's like this like really cleansing or like helps me with like ego death or all, whatever, like what you said. But there's also the aspect which I learned, which is like you can unlock. This is clearly how so many people, especially down there in South America, like that route for sure showed them what plants did what, right? Like that, like, and this full circles back to the pyramids thing, because if you think about primal people, like those ages where it's like, how did anybody know in this forest of millions of different species of plants and animals, like how did anybody just figure out what does what? Because the trial and error of taking different leaves and being like, I'm gonna put this
So it
on
could be
this,
fatal.
and it's insane. And also same with when you think of like Chinese face mapping, which is extremely accurate, right? You can't convince me that some dude just like trial and errored personality traits from millions of people's faces for like, it would take so many different lifetimes and generations of people. Someone like these, information is unlocked through these practices, right? Like ayahuasca for sure showed the people of South America, this plant is good, this plant is bad, use it. Because I felt that on the second night where I was like, you saw the web of I saw like the math of the world, and in my frequency, is much less than the people back then, before phones ever got into people's minds, before all this,
information like overload.
Overload. Yeah, we're so overstimulated, right? So all of our frequencies, no matter how much we could try to unlock, they're way different than back then, because all they had to do was like learn. They enjoyed the sun, like
there's 10 people in their village. That's the only people they know.
So these roots, like what it did for them was insane. I say the same thing. It's almost like in Norwegian culture, like in my culture, with like the runes, like stuff that I have on my fingers, right? These are essentially like, these are magic, right? These are casting spells, right? And these runes.
All right, so literally, MGK just admitted he's a witch. So there's that now. Yeah, witchcraft in general is becoming extremely popular. That being said, it was prophesied that it was going to happen anyway, so not surprising. Over the last 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Kamala Harris is a witch. Beyonce is a witch. MGK is now a witch. Who else? Vanessa Hudgens is a witch. Oh, I'm missing someone. Anyway, but what I'm saying is witchcraft is extremely popular nowadays, and it's something that we as Christians can combat very easily, by the way. Like, again, you cannot beat the Holy Spirit. It's not going to happen. Period. End of story. You're not beating them. Not going to happen. So yeah, you can counter this stuff, and we need to counter this stuff by, again, sharing the gospel, doing our due diligence, or doing our job, because it's technically our job, and it's for everyone. So instead of having these meaningless discussions about who's right, who's wrong, it doesn't really help anyone, and they're kind of pointless, to be fairly honest with you. Like, I've even gotten to the point myself where if I think that another Christian is sinning, and he's deliberately sinning, I'll let you know, I'll give you one warning, and then I'm done, right? Like, that's just where I'm at this point. Because unfortunately, Christians don't know how to listen. Again, I'm not... that's a marketing play at this point. Well, I could use this in marketing, but... So, just spoiler alert, song on a new album called Listen, literally written by the Holy Spirit, not even joking. I think there's like half of them written by the Holy Spirit, and then another half written by me, I think. I want to say that's accurate, I'm not sure. But anyway, that album will be dropping eventually. I don't have a date. I will have a date for you when the boss lets me know. Again, right now, I'm sick, got a cold, album's almost done, got into marketing. So anyway, let's finish this up, and then...
Runes were unlocked. I mean, this obviously is mythology, and I'm sure some of it is folklore, but there's always some truth in this. How like the ayahuasca unlocked this for the South Americans, but like with the runes, they say Odin hung upside down from the tree of life for 9 days and 9 nights, and that essentially, that whether it's the blood rush or whatever it was, like took him into a state, an altered state, which showed him the magic of what the runes mean. And how to, like, why they put them on the shields, like this is a spell protecting you, or this will give you bravery, or this will help your sword swing more accurately. And so I think there's something about with the Egyptians, and just with that mystery of sound, to me that is 100%.
It also seems achievable. It's like a theory that makes sense.
Have you watched sand on a metal plate when they play a frequency? Have you watched the beautiful shapes that sand makes when you play frequency? Have you thought about the fact that in the Bible, when they talk about the walls of Jericho come down, you're talking about, what was it, like 20? I forgot how thick the stones were. But do you realize that they talk about the people outside that broke the walls of Jericho down were just like playing horns?
That's insane.
Like, how do you go from Colson? How do you go from Apollo Theater, Rap Devil, like era shit?
Yeah, those are such wide different.
Whatever. You know, like that. Like I'm trying to put a mark in time of like Cleveland Zone, fully tatted, going crazy, machine gun, rapid fire, beats. to this now awakened, enlightened individual?
Uh,
What was the kind of inflection point where that started? This is a big difference between those two
It's
people.
actually very weird. It's a good point.
You never thought about that?
No,
Were you a manifester?
you can't-
Like I was with you the other night outside the. I'll talk about the story.
this
that
was
happened the other night.
insane. Yeah.
We were outside Cleveland hotspot called Town Hall the other night, just having just a conversation. Very, very excited about your current trajectory, about Lonely Road, you know, your new single with Jelly Roll. And you're like, yo, I think this is I think there's a good chance this could be my first overall #1 and potentially even a Grammy. People are really digging it, loving it. And I could see it in you. Like I could really see that you believed in it, you loved it, you love your current, like where you're at right now. And as soon as you finished that sentence, the song came on.
It was
It was
insane.
instantaneous.
Whoa.
And we just both looked at each other and it was like one of those manifesting universal moments. Whereas someone like me, I'm still in your 2011 body. I need to be convinced of this type of shit. I need to be convinced that this disillusionment is not a thing, that magic does exist in this world if you believe in it and you're able to manifest it. I need those evidence points from you. But were they always in you?
$2011. Who was your favorite rapper growing up? DMX. Right after that, I was in the studio with DMX. They said DMX doesn't get in the studio with anybody. DMX came to my studio. We stayed up till 9 a.m, went to Denny's in the morning after the studio session.
I've done that with you before.
Yeah.
It wasn't after studio
Yeah,
session.
yeah.
Some
Yeah.
Late
You
night,
are
late
not, you are not DMX, my
early
friend.
morning. Well, I'm just saying, no, you know,
Yeah,
yeah. Early morning breakfast with Colton. Yeah, come on, bro. We went to that one breakfast spot.
Yeah.
Sick. But no, your life has unfolded in a crazy way. Not to hijack your answer, but
But I'm gonna.
well, unless you had more to say. I mean, like it sounds like you're talking about manifestation of just how your life has changed. But as someone who also grew up in Cleveland and has watched the different chapters of your career literally since the beginning, bro. I'm talking about like you inspired me and Jake to have a meetup at Strongsville Mall because you did that as well and shut down Strongsville Mall. I remember my cousin MGK's from Cleveland. I'm a wild boy. We were going crazy to your shit, and then you just keep getting more and more famous, and so were we. And it was cool to kind of like see another kid from Cleveland just making it and just being an artist. And I'm getting somewhere with this. It's going to take a second. In that same clip where you talked about radiating, you talked about having that ego death. You also talked about and came to terms with what I perceived as you just being an artist, and you're kind of up for interpretation. And otherwise, if everyone would just always liked you all the time, like that's boring. There's no story there. And I've seen from day one, damn near the different chapters of your life up until you even buying my house, bro. Like we like the paths have intersected and it's been so cool. And I remember one day at your Christmas concert, man, this had to be 4 or 5 years ago. You were rapping still. You hadn't made the rock star shift. And someone said one of your boys was like, he's hyping you up. He's like, he's the greatest rock star of our generation. I'm watching you do these fucking dance moves, play guitar, throw the microphone 50 feet in the air, catch it behind your back. I'm like, yo, this motherfucker might be a rock star. Why? How is he? He's rapping, but I think he's a rock star. And then you made that transition into rock and you fucking crushed it. And everyone at the same time was like, oh, he is a rock star. And everyone started to like wake up to this new version of you. And then you had this brand new relationship. And now recently the blacked out tattoos. I know I covered a lot of ground there, but it's like you really are an artist to the core, bro. And your life is just like chapter after chapter. And as a fan, it's so cool to see you evolve. You're very good at evolving, but the impetus of what I'm saying is it doesn't sound like for you really had that like conscious shift where you were like, this is it. I'm doing rock now. But it seemed like that's when this next level MGK was reached, at least in my opinion from a fan.
I know, like in a chart reading before, they said in 2012 that that was the year I was supposed to be as big as I am now. but I blocked that blessing. And it's ironic because 2012 was the year that I got signed and had put out, you know, my first record, and that's when Wild Boy was going crazy. And like there was a potential for me if I wouldn't have blocked that blessing. How did I block my blessing? Uppers and downers. Uppers and downers, dude. And drowning myself in Jameson whiskey over and over again, and making sure that I was positive everyone wanted to see another recreation of all of the 2000s rock stars. And I include rappers in that too, right? Which was just like Attitude and like the MTV era where you could like play a character and that resonated. But that wasn't who I am. Like honestly, I'm a very shy dude, but my defense is so high because the offense seems always so against me. It's like when I was in the ring yesterday, just coming to say what's up to Logan and see what we could work out for the show, and I saw Randy Orton. And I remember seeing Randy Orton, you know, talk shit about me. And I was like, you know, I there's a point where I'm like, I'm going to practice like a new version of myself. And then 3, 2, 1, I'm like, fuck that. Hey man, fuck you.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You didn't, I don't know where you were,
that.
but I remember all my boys were sitting there like,
oh no. Oh no.
Is this real? What is this part of the script? I don't know what's happening, but it's the amount of.
All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna stop there. But again, thanks for watching this reaction. I do appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below what you kind of think of this and what parallels I'm kind of bringing up a little bit to kind of show you the distinction between, you know, Christian, non-Christian, you know, and how the worldviews are very, very similar, but they're still very, very different based on what power you're, I guess, following. I guess. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. As usual, comment, like, and subscribe down below, please. And then share this video out to your family and friends if you think they'd find it interesting. And then I will see you on that next episode.